All right, this is a podcast episode. We're going to talk open today. We're going to talk about top 10%, what that person might look like. We're going to talk about what that person might have been able to do or not do in previous years in the open so that people can get an idea. If you want to run through one of these workouts and see where you're at to kind of see if you're on the cusp or if you're a bubble athlete, if you're on the north or south side of the cut line. And then we're actually going to give a bunch of data on old open workouts, obviously with a little caveat, which we'll get to when we talk about that. And of course, we have Caitlyn Dent-Hernandez. Is it Caitlyn Dent-Hernandez or is it Caitlyn Hernandez? What would you prefer for introduction purposes?
Dent-Hernandez.
Caitlyn Dent-Hernandez here. First things first, what is top 10%? Top 10% is you finishing in the north, we'll call it, of the top 10%, better of the top 10% in your continent, in the open, and if you do that, you're going to qualify for quarterfinals. From there, if you're somebody who's worried about qualifying for top 10%, and that's really what this video is going to be about. We're going to get into a video probably next week or the week following about quarterfinals and semifinals and what athletes that need to get to the next level are going to look like relative to that, which would be an athlete like Caitlyn, or for those of you guys that are here, Rose Scott, people that are absolutely going to qualify for the top 10% and have chances at dabbling in a further level in quarterfinals. There's a different conversation that we're going to have about that. So this conversation is going to be mostly about people that are really, really concerned about whether or not they're going to qualify for the top 10%. I thought we didn't have the squeaky chair anymore. I mean, it's not bothering me. All right.
I think it should be.
Okay. All right. So what does this person look like? Well, first things first, last year in North America, we're assuming that if you're watching this, you're probably in North America. And if you're not, leave a comment so we can know what country that people are actually watching our stuff from, because that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be right.
About 7,000 men and about 7,000 women qualified for quarterfinals from the Open in North America. Men had that 10 percentile spot male, so the male that came in 7,000th and 62nd place had roughly 54,000 worldwide points. So what that means is that male averaged 18,000 points per workout. And we were just talking about this before we turned the camera on. Caitlyn actually brought it up about, what'd you say about people bombing a workout and then kind of writing things off?
Yeah, that you are still so, you have so much wiggle room. So if you come in 23,000th place, and then you have an 18,000 place finish and then a 13th place thousand finish, you still are the top 10%.
You're right there.
You're right there. You can still make it.
Yeah, and a lot of times people like in that first workout will have, an awful workout and they're like, well, F this, I'm done, I don't want to continue. And I think that when we put it relative to that guy that qualified last year came in on average 18,000th place in every workout, that really opens the doors up for a lot of people that maybe originally didn't think they had a possibility, that maybe I do have a possibility. That's not that crazy.
Right.
And just to give everybody an idea, because it is kind of weird math, if you were to come in top 10%, if you were to finish every workout top 10%, that would actually put you in the top probably like 1 or 2%. So if you went back in previous open years and looked to see what every single workout top 10% is, I think that's a great place to start, because that's a great goal to have. But you don't need to come in that place every single workout. Like we just talked about. You have a lot of wiggle room.
A lot of wiggle room.
Yeah. So if we start to build out what this.
So with that being said, capitalize on the workouts that you can capitalize on, so that if you know that there is an open workout that does come out and you do bomb it, at least you have that one strength workout that you're able to kind of lean on.
For sure.
And show that you can still make it with that much of a wiggle room just from the numbers.
Yeah, and especially like we're talking to in this video, those bubble athletes that are like really, really trying to make it this year, whether you were on the cusp last year on the outside, or the cusp last year on the inside, or it's your first open. Just because it's a great workout for you doesn't necessarily mean that you need to one and done it.
Right.
It might be in your best interest to get it done to, God will strike me down for saying this 3 times, because you don't know what's going to come out in the future. So that's a great point.
Or same with like a max lift at the end. If it is just one more pound, that could be a few more spots that would get you in and it'd be a game changer.
Yeah,
so those are some little things that you can think about as you're going through the Open this year.
Yeah, for sure. So if we start to build out what this athlete should look like, males, you literally need everything. There cannot be a skill, a high skill movement that you don't have, and probably pretty damn proficient at them, but we'll just talk, you need them. The cut line for the male division in the bar muscle up workout last year was about 3 or 4 bar muscle ups, and that was like at the end of a workout with with pull-ups and thrusters and chest to bar and thrusters. So if you're somebody that like fresh has 1 or 2, chances are under all that upper pulling volume, you are not going to get 1 or 2. Fresh, you need to be able to kind of bang out some sets in order for you to be able to make that happen towards the end of workouts, which historically that's usually where the bar muscle up is kind of like a treat at the end kind of thing that you got to kind of get to and then work your way through.
Yep.
Women, every single year, are getting better and better and better, especially in their relative upper pulling and upper pushing gymnastic strength. Where a couple years ago and prior to this top 10% conversation, you could not have a ring muscle up or a bar muscle up and still finish really well in workouts. And there's just so many girls now that are getting really good at strict handstand push-ups and handstand walking and bar muscle ups and ring muscle ups. Not even talking about elite girls, talking about just like everyday general population girls that are getting really good at those things. And last year in that bar muscle up workout, you probably needed to get 1 bar muscle up at the end of that workout to be on the right side of that cut line. So again, you got to be able to do bar muscle ups under aggressive local fatigue, not just like a heart rate elevation or global fatigue. But every year that gets more and more competitive, and the spread between what guys need and what girls need is getting closer and closer and closer, where probably in the next couple years when we have this conversation, it's just going to be like across the board, guys and girls needed to get 6 bar muscle ups in that round. It doesn't change because girls are just getting so much better at gymnastics. From a strength component, 22 point, or the complex in 2021, if you guys remember, it was a deadlift, a clean, a hang clean, and a jerk, and it was after a lot of work. So the cut line on that for a top 10 percentile athlete was 225 pounds in that complex for males, 145 pound complex for females, which generally speaking, and because of neuromuscular efficiency, everyone's going to be different as far as like what their working capabilities are relative to their 1 rep max. But if we just kind of generalize, that probably puts the male cut line clean and jerk in 2021 at about 255 pounds, and the female cut line clean and jerk at probably about 165 pounds. And just to open your eyes to that, if Caitlyn came into that workout with a 145 pound clean and jerk as her 1 rep max, she probably wasn't about to ride out on a 4 movement complex at 145 after a workout. So that's why we say there needs to be a little bit of a buffer, 1 rep max relative to what you're capable of. So if we actually go back a couple years and just continue to paint this picture, the 17.3, which was the snatch, chest to bar ladder, guys had to get into the 185 pound bar, ladies had to get into the 125 pound bar, which would probably put the guys snatch at about 205 pounds for a 1 rep max, ladies at about 145 pounds for a 1 rep max. Obviously that's from 2017, that's before we had a top 10% cut line, but we went back and we kind of did some math on that, and we were able to look and see what that athlete might look like. One more just kind of like old school data point would be the toe to bar dub squat clean workout, and guys needed like 4 to 6, 4 to 7 cleans at 225, and ladies needed about the same at 145. So that just hammers home that number being a working weight, 225 and 145 being a solid working weight, which that we're just talking about clean. So guy, you probably need to be able to clean about 275. Ladies, you probably need to be able to clean about 185 in order to have conversations about that. So obviously, all of this is relative to what the workout comes out at with. You might be awful at snatching, and we're telling you that in order to be a top 10% athlete, you need to be able to snatch 205 and 145, and there might not be a snatch test in the open, and you might still qualify, and that's great. What we're trying to do is give you as much data as possible so that no matter what comes out, you can have your bases covered. So if we were to dig a little bit into some historical data, and, this is going to obviously be with a huge grain of salt. And, I'm a big fan of data and statistics and looking at norms and standards and looking at percentage points, that kind of thing. Obviously, the programming director, I think that's what he's called now. Who's writing the program? Is it Boz is writing the programming now? So nobody really knows what that's going to look like. So, some people think that he's going to just throw a curveball and change the entire open vibe.
Especially with the way he was with the CrossFit Games.
For sure, like almost like trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
With that being said, we can't count on anything in regards to that. All we can do is look at historical data and give you information on what you probably need to be good at. So in the last 12 years, we've had 12 opens. That's how many opens there have been. So if you end up on Jeopardy and the question is how many CrossFit Opens there have been, there's been 12. Of those 12 years, there's been a total of 57 workouts. Of those 57 workouts, 68% of those has had a moderate to high skill gymnastic. And we say moderate to high skill because of the athlete that we're speaking to right now. We're going to include toes to bar and chest to bar and double unders in that conversation, where next time we do this and we have a conversation about an elite athlete, we won't really consider toe to bar or dub to be like a high skill gymnastic for them. That's just kind of like a movement piece. But for people that we're talking to now, we're going to call that a gymnastic. You know what I mean? So 68% of those 57 workouts had moderate to high skill gymnastics. 7% had a barbell. 42% of them were couplets. 35% were triplets. Only 5% had a single modality. And I think that was actually 2 workouts. It was like the burpee AMRAP and then like a power snatch AMRAP. 12% were chippers, which we classified as 4 movements or more. And as far as our data collecting is concerned, 33 exercises. There's a 33 exercise pool that they can use or that they have historically used to pull from. And that's including coupling things up like strict handstand push-ups and kipping handstand push-ups. We didn't section those off as 2 separate things, and every burpee style got put into one burpee category. You know what I mean? So now if we were to start looking at what the most important movements in the open are, if somebody was to want to try to figure out what they need to focus on, there's 2 movements. Jeopardy time, and we can ask you too. There's 2 movements that have been in every single open since its inception, 12 years ago. What are those 2 movements?
Thrusters.
Okay.
Dubs.
What's your guess?
Dubs and pull-ups.
Dubs and burpees.
Ah.
So thrusters. So we've seen dubs and burpees, 12 out of 12. Thruster, toe to bar, and chest to bar, 11 of 12. So you're right
close.
there. And then wall balls, 10 of 12. So now when we're talking about athletes that really need to zero in on specific things,
Burpee
that's
is
big.
max.
That's big. And especially like we've got a couple athletes here, and we'll use Daniel Briggs as an example. He snatches 235. He can probably clean and jerk 275. So relative to the stuff that we talked about, as far as the strength stuff goes, he's there, but he sucks at dubs.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's cool to be good at all these pretty things, but like the data's right here. If you're not good at dubs and you're not good at burpees, you're probably not going to advance, and you're probably not going to have an opportunity to showcase some of the higher skill stuff. So if you're watching this and if this is something that's concerning you, practice dubs, like put the video on pause and go do 100 dubs right now, and then probably do some variation of burpee as well.
Yes.
So moving on from that, and again, I hope that gave people an idea about what we might see in the open, and coaches that might be watching this, what you should be doing potentially programming-wise for open bubble athletes that need to get more exposure to those 33 movements that CrossFit HQ has used, and which ones need to be of higher priority than others. And again, just as an example, regular chin over bar pull-ups has been in the open 1 time. Pistols have been in the open 1 time. Push-ups have been in the open 1 time. Dumbbell walking lunges have been in the open 1 time. So now if we're talking about exercise selection from a programming perspective for athletes that fall into this category, things like double unders, burpees, thrusters, toes to bar, wall balls, chest to bar, that's going to be much, much more important than chin over bar pull-ups, or even things like handstand walking, which have been in the open 3 times. But again, historical data matters until they prove that it doesn't.
Correct.
Yeah. And we're going to kind of finish up with this, but we wanted to kind of talk about what 4 different types of people's training might look like through the open, and what some options could look like. So person number 1, which Caitlyn actually does fall into this category, so I'll let her take it, would be like an RX/elite level athlete. And we differentiate in this category because an RX level athlete would be somebody that can undeniably qualify for top 10%, but then can undeniably not qualify for semifinals, where an elite athlete can undeniably qualify top 10%, but then can potentially qualify for semifinals.
Yep. So RX athlete or elite athlete, your training schedule is going to look like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to train normal, everything normal schedule. Thursday, you're going to have, this is if you're hitting the workout on Friday night at Friday Night Lights with everybody. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, normal schedule. Thursday, rest, active recovery. If you want to take a full rest day, do so. If you want to do active recovery, if you feel better coming onto the open workout on Friday, doing some light movement, do so, whatever is best for you. Friday, you would train in the morning and open workout. And then Saturday, a lighter training day, and then Sunday, rest, active recovery. So same along those lines, an RX elite athlete, if you want to do the open workout on Saturday, this is what your training schedule would look like. It would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, train as normal. Thursday, rest. Friday, train, do a light Metcon. And then Saturday, you would do the open workout. And then Sunday, rest. So those are the 2 different paths that you can take as an RX or an elite athlete on if you wanted to do it on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, and those 2 options right there give us 3 high-quality days of continued training to get ready for quarterfinals, because that's what we're really trying to push for. We are going to be making the first push that we've ever been, because I'm a huge Friday Night Lights fan, but we're going to be making the first push that we've ever been to get our higher level, something just fell, our higher level, RX elite athletes to actually not be doing the open workouts on Friday night with Friday Night Lights, but actually doing them on Saturday with a little bit more of an open gym setting, specific nuances of using certain pull-up bars or certain handstand push-up stations, and being able to load your transition area up in the most advantageous place possible. And we're going to try to push them to be more of like, community supporters on Friday night, which I do think that members
really awesome.
Would appreciate also.
Especially really being able to hone in on those individuals. I want to get that top 10% and be able to give the attention that they need.
And I think that, like, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but I think that we legit was like, one year we're saying like, all right, Caitlyn's going to hit the workout on Friday night for fun, and then we're going to redo it for real this day. You know what I mean? So now that, we really do want to try to make as good of a push as possible for Caitlyn in quarterfinals, we're going to be a little bit more strategic about that, where, when we had that conversation a couple years ago, quarterfinals was whatever. We get there, we'll get there no problem, but that's probably going to be the end of the trip, where now we want to try to get as many training days as possible in. Exactly. So we'll probably be hitting on Saturday as far as somebody like Caitlyn's concerned. So next type of athlete is going to be an intermediate athlete, which is going to be our bubble athletes, which might or might not be able to make it, but need to do everything possible to make it. In an ideal world, in a perfect world, an athlete like this is going to do it twice. Once on Friday and once on Monday, with Saturday being an active recovery, light movement day, and Sunday being a complete rest day. That being said, we do have some athletes here, and this would go against all of the fitness gods and doctors and everybody's anything, that are going to end up doing it 3 times, and depending on the workout, you might be able to get three attempts in, depending on severity of local muscle fatigue, that kind of thing, ripped hands, that type of stuff. So if you're somebody who's going to hit it twice, you're going to hit it on Friday night. And you're going to hit it on Monday. So Mondays are going to be open day. Tuesdays are going to be a light movement day, just recovery based. Wednesday is going to be a little bit of light training, some light touches on some stuff that we're thinking might get released in Thursday's open announcement. You will hit the workout. Actually, the 3-time per week person will hit the workout on Thursday night not Friday. They'll get some light movement in on Friday, hit the workout on Saturday, rest day Sunday, hit the workout on Monday. The people that are going to be hitting it twice will be taking Thursday off. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday stay the same. Thursday off for active recovery. Hit the workout on Friday, light movement on Saturday, rest day on Sunday, and then hit the workout again on Monday. And we've all retested workouts before. It's almost impossible not to get a better score. You know what I mean? Whether you pace it out well or not, you're going to get a better score. So if you're one of these athletes, don't have shame in redoing. Which leads us to our last athlete.
And then the last athlete is the one who is just doing this for fun, who is just wanting to be a part of the experience of doing the Open. So this is what your schedule will look like. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, train as normal. Thursday would be your rest day, and then Friday you would hit the Open workout on Friday Night Lights with everyone, have a good time, enjoy the experience, and then Saturday, lighter training day, Sunday, full rest day.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting how like everything does come full circle, because like the elite athlete and the recreational athlete schedule actually looks very, very similar. Obviously, the training volume is going to be very different on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday days, but it's just interesting how things come full circle.
Yeah.
So I hope that gave you guys some insight into what to kind of expect leading into the Open, what to expect as far as the movement selection stuff goes. If you're interested in being on our mailing list, if you're a member of our gym, if you follow our programming online, Black Sheep Training, you're going to get Open guides every Thursday night, every Friday morning, and every Saturday night probably. And we're going to progress that just as we see more athletes do them, and as we kind of like work out the specific nuances of what we believe a top 10% score is going to look like. If you're not following one of those things and you would like access to that, just hit up on Instagram, send us a DM. It'll probably be Caitlyn that responds. Yeah. But we can go ahead and put you into our database and make sure that you get all the Open content that we're going to be putting out. So,
if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
And reach out. And the best way to do that, again, is the Instagram, and we'll guide you from there.
Yeah.
See you next time.